Stars. Players are not mushrooms to be popping up and you just plucking them. In past, it wasn't like that. You had a crop of players who have played together. And so when they come to the Black Stars, there's that connection, there's that telepathy, there's that understanding. But in these days, we don't do that. We go, Jiku is in France, he was born there, and that is what he knows. His doctrine, his football doctrine, actually is that of France. But we bring him. So you bring several players with different football doctrines together, and it doesn't work that way. When Spain was very dominant in world football, they kept a core of their squad. It was Barcelona, Real Madrid. The only player that could penetrate the Spanish national team was David Silva from Valencia. But we do not have a team. We should just accept that. No, I've been working on the GPO for the last 4 years. I can tell you there's some quality in there, but our local players also need to get themselves to the level where they deserve to be in the national team.
You have had the opportunity to be closer, or you hosted the Ghana Premier League for 4 years. Is it true that currently there are some clubs who do even pay their pay their players below 1,000?
I know a player currently who takes 800 cedis a month, and he's a breadwinner.
Meet Mutala Yakubu, an accomplished journalist with 9 years of experience in radio, online, and TV broadcasting. He's also a seasoned host of the Ghana Premier League with 4 years on Star Times Ghana and Max TV. Starting from St. Thomas Aquinas SHS, Mutala earned a bachelor's degree in communication studies, specializing in journalism, and an MA in media management. As a DWP Academy trainee in audience analysis, he's refined his skills in connecting with audiences. Known for his hard work and result-driven attitude, Mutala's Christian faith guides his commitment to integrity and excellence. Mutala Yakubu, a professional storyteller dedicated to delivering news with precision and impact.
Yeah, so one of the things that gets people talking in Ghana, or Ghanaians talking, is, aside politics for me, is sports. And today I've got with me someone that I call him the young voice of Ghana sports. And I mean, he's a very energetic guy. His charisma and the skill combined when he's delivering sports presentations for me is top notch. And I'm sure at the end of this episode we are going to actually feel him and also get his perceptions about Ghana sports, and also some of the things that is happening currently in our sports, both the Black Stars and also the GPL. Welcome, Mutala.
Charlie, thanks, bro. You
know something? I get plenty of questions like I want to ask you, but I want to start.
Let's have a conversation.
So the very first thing is I want to quote you.
Okay.
I think I watched an interview of yours after the Sudan game, where your facial expression for me, I was like, whoa. And you said this. You said that you were heartbroken, emotionally, patriotically, and also you were disappointed in the Black Stars. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I was very disappointed in the Black Stars because I had high hopes in the Black Stars. I always tell people I can't support any other national team apart from the Black Stars. I first got in close contact with the Black Stars somewhere in 2004 at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. It was a World Cup qualifier that Ghana played South Africa. We won that day, I think, by 3-0. That was the first time I actually watched the Black Stars live at the stadium, and since then I felt some affection for them. So I've always been that person that would always be behind the Black Stars, whether rain or shine. And with the current crop of players that we have a lot of quality in our team, but we seem not to have that synergy that will propel us to the next level. And I always tell my friends that one of the things that I would regret most is when I get to heaven and God asks me if I've seen the Black Stars win a cup before, and I'll tell God no, because I am 32. I haven't seen the Black Stars win any major trophy before. The only trophy I saw the Black Stars win was a top four nation tournament prior to the 2008 AFCON in Ghana. We took on countries like Togo, Benin. These are not powerhouses then. They were not powerhouses. So that was the only trophy I saw Black Stars win. The next one was seeing the under-20 win that major World Cup in Egypt. But the Black Stars proper, I haven't seen them win any trophy, and the likeliest trophy that we can win is the AFCON, because the World Cup is far-fetched. I don't want to talk about the World Cup,
right.
But I mean, we would be sitting on our high horses if we want to win the World Cup now, because even the AFCON, it has eluded us for like 42 years, and we've still not been able to lay our hands on that. So I felt, okay, with the current crop of players, the likes of Kudus, Thomas Partey, the likes of Jordan Ayew, because I felt this AFCON could be the last for some of these players, like Jordan, like Thomas Partey. This could be the last AFCON for them, so they would want to bow out, on a high, but it wasn't meant to be. Honestly, our destiny currently isn't in our hands. It's in the hands of Sudan. And what makes it even more difficult about qualifying for the 2025 AFCON is that Sudan can choose to lose the next 2 games that they are playing. They are playing today. They can choose to lose today's game and lose their last game against Angola. But can the Black Stars win their next 2 games? That is the biggest question. Can we win? It's not even about Sudan. Let's forget about Sudan. Can we win our games? We don't look like a side that is ready enough, a side that has the telepathy. We have players, but we don't have a team. That is what I would say. So it's painful, but we have just a 1% chance of qualifying for the AFCON.
Wow, talking about Sudan, I think the whatever thing that I quoted, came at the back of, I think, the second leg when we lost. I've heard arguments that even with the first leg, people felt that if Sudan wanted to score Ghana, they could have scored Ghana. Do you share the same argument? Well, with the way they played, because there were certain chances that we thought obviously they should have scored us, but then they chose to relax. That's the argument.
On hindsight, you could say yes, but when I'm talking about issues like this, I don't want to employ if clauses, because if Mobo they couldn't beat us in the first leg, we drew goalless. It was unfortunate. I felt that the first leg the Black Stars played very, very well, and it was luck that eluded us. I was at the Accra Sports Stadium. I saw the glaring chances that fell to the likes of Kudus, Antoine Semenyo, Inaki, that we couldn't bury. So I thought we were going to carry the same momentum, the same eagerness, the same hunger to Morocco, and I had joy in my heart knowing that Sudan are not playing in Sudan. They are not playing in Khartoum. It is a no man's land. It is Morocco. So I felt that we had a chance of going there, and I've heard people have a go at Otuado, because after that 0-0 that we played against Sudan in Ghana before the second leg in Morocco, he said if the Stars can play the same way, if they can employ the same tactics, then we have a chance of winning. But it wasn't meant to be. It was a shambolic performance. There was no soul in there. There was no determination. There was no eagerness. We've all played football before. There comes a time where you lose confidence in yourself, and I always tell people, football is played in the mind. The legs are just a tool. Eye is a computer. Everything happens in the system unit. What you see on the screen is the final product from the system unit. So football is played here. It's a psychological game. The legs are just there. So be a bit everyone can just throw his or her leg at a ball. But the brains, you need the brains to process what you want to do. So Kwesi Appiah had read us very well, knowing that we had lost confidence in ourselves. We are no more if I can say, the Brazilian of African football. We are no more scary. The Black Stars are not scary anymore, because if you were, countries like Central African Republic will not come here and even get 2 goals against you. When teams are playing against the Black Stars now, they feel confident. They know that if you apply a bit of pressure, if you're a bit tactically disciplined, you get the better of the Black Stars. That is why we lost. We should just accept that we are not good anymore. And I've told people that the first ways to solving your problem is accepting that you have a problem. Are we going to accept as a nation that we have a problem with our football? If we can accept that, then we can sit around the table and have a very honest conversation. And we have a problem with our football and we need to fix it. But until we accept that we have a problem, it will still linger on.
And some top journalists, like some of your senior colleagues and other football fanatics have said that it appears that we are the very lowest form ever. Considering all indices, right? So we take the under 17, under 20. You rightly mentioned earlier that the last time you saw Ghana as a country winning
a major trophy, it came from the under 20.
So when you even consider the female national teams, like the Black Maidens, the Princesses and the Queens, so, and even our local league, do you share in the same argument that we are the lowest form ever?
Not just
for the
Ghana.
past like 20 years.
It's not just Ghana. It happens to almost every football nation. Brazil, for instance, are currently facing a huge crisis when it comes to national team football.
Okay.
When was the last time Brazil won a major trophy? Check the number of players that play in the Brazilian national team now. Today you have players from Fulham being in the Brazilian national team. You have players from Everton, Tottenham Hotspur being in the Brazilian national team. It used not to happen. It used to be players from AC Milan, Real Madrid, the biggest clubs in Europe. They were the players that were playing in the national team. So they are also, it happens to every football nation. Germany have gone through the process, but they've been able to come out of it. They've been able to fix it. Why have we not been able to fix ours? This problem has existed for I think the last 10 years, where you could see the dwindling fortunes of Ghana football. We didn't pay heed to it. Was there any transition? Was there any succession plan? Did we have any succession plan for Asamoah Gyan? Those crop of players, the Michael Essien, Sule Muntari, Sedna Apia, did we have any plan that if these players fade out, these are the players that we'll bring in? We don't have any proper transition. You find players playing at the under 17 level. You don't find even a single player graduating to the under 20 level. After any major tournament with any youth side, these players move on to countries that we don't even watch them. They go to Latvia, some go to Romania, some go to, countries where football is not played, if I can say that. Football is not popular. So we don't even monitor their progress. And now it is easier because Mr. Menu came from Kaswa and went to England to marry Henrietta Smith, and on now baby a friend Kobe Menu that plays for Manchester United. So we just go and pick that boy, or we just follow that boy and ensure that we bring him to the BlackStars. Players are not mushrooms to be popping up and you just plucking them.
Not to catch you, but talking about that, what's time passed. One of the things that I clearly remember, like you said, was the proper transitioning of our young guys. So the squad that's won the under-20 World Cup, like the Dida Ayus, Kuja Samoas, the Rabius, were the ones that we saw transition to the BlackStars, and in 2010 they went for the World Cup. So now, like you said, it's kind of looked like we've changed from that particular way of proper transitioning. Why do you think like there's
because now we want the easier side, we want the cheaper option because of migration. A lot of Ghanaians are traveling outside and marrying Europeans and having babies with them. So we wait for these babies to spring up. Count the number of foreign born players in the BlackStars now. You can count about as many as 6. In past, it wasn't like that. You had a crop of players who have played together and knew themselves. There was that connection. There was that. The Stephen Apias, the Michael Essien, the Sule Muntaris, the John Pintos. You find at least 3 each having played at the same youth level. Michael Essien played with Sule Muntari, and the likes are the under 20 level. So when they come to the BlackStars, there is that connection, there is that telepathy, there is that understanding. But these days we don't do that. We've abandoned our grassroots football. We don't even pay heed to it. We are just looking at going for a tournament and having scouts come around. So after the tournament, you package 6-7 boys and just sell them off. And these boys go to countries that we don't even monitor them. How can you monitor a player in Latvia? A player goes to Thailand. How do you monitor the progress of that player? You don't. So now we resort to, Inaki Williams wants to play for Spain, but he's not getting the opportunity. Let's try and convince him to play for Ghana. Edin Ketia is with us now. He's not getting playing time with the English national team. Let's try and get Edin Ketia. That is what we've resorted to. So we go and bring Antoine Semenyo, we bring Tariq Lamptey, we have to go and beg Salisu to come and play for us. We go, Jiku is in France, he was born there, and that is what he knows. His doctrine, his football doctrine actually is that of France, but we bring him. So you bring several players with different football doctrines together, and it doesn't work that way. We are not saying do a wholesale or a mass transition of junior players to the senior national team. Recently, you had under 20 winning the men's football in the All African Games. How many of the players have you seen at the national team level? We are not saying do a wholesale promotion or wholesale transition, but every team has its own spine. You identify the players that were influential in that under 20 setup, then you just promote them to come and understudy the senior players. Ronaldo went to, I think, the 1994, if I'm not mistaken, 94 98 or 94 World Cup in the United States. I'm talking about the Brazilian Ronaldo de Lima. He went to that World Cup not to play a single game, but he was taken to the World Cup because they wanted him to have a feel of how a World Cup looks like, because he was the next big thing in Brazil. And when he came back for the 2002 World Cup in Korea, Japan, see what he did. He was the highest goal scorer. He led Brazil to win the World Cup by scoring 2 against Germany. So you give these players a feel of the Black Stars. But this is the case where every national team call up, we have a new player joining the Black Stars. We are not just a new player, you have about 4 or 5 new players joining the Black Stars. When Spain was very dominant in world football, they kept a core of their squad. It was Barcelona, Real Madrid. The only player that could penetrate the Spanish national team was David Silva from Valencia. Then, and I think there was one other player at Villarreal. I've forgotten his name. He was a black player at Villarreal. They were the only 2 players that could penetrate. The core of the squad is there. Every team has a spine. You know that in post, Ike Casillas is the goalkeeper. You know in defense, it is either Sergio Ramos or Puyol. You know in midfield, it was Marcos Senna that I wanted to talk about. You know it's Marcos Senna, Xavi, Iniesta. You know up front, it is David Villa. And we had that same thing with the Black Stars. We had the core or the spine of the team. It was Richard Olelekinson. You know Joe Mensah will be in defense. You know Michael Essien or Steve Appiah will be in the middle. And you know Asamoah Gyan will be up front. We've lost that plot. We don't have a grip on our national team again. We have a group of talented young players, but we do not have a team. We should just accept that. And
let me take you back a bit. You mentioned or you talked about the player Exodus, right? And gone are the days like in the 2006 time where we had some of our local base players feature in the BlackStars. The likes of Sheila Iliasu and the other.
Dan Craig went to the World Cup as well. I recently met him at the stadium. We had Sami Eje teaming up to the World Cup. Habib Mohamed was a local player. Haminu Dramani, who scored against US, was also a local player. I mean, our local league was good then, and I've heard a lot of people also make a case that we should include a lot of our local players into the national team. Hello, I've been working on the GPO for the last 4 years. I can tell you there's some quality in there, but our local players also need to get themselves to the level where they deserve to be in the national team. Yeah, you get 1 or 2 players in there that could help the national team or that are quality enough, but most of the local players that come in these days, they do not. I don't want to use the word. They are not Premier League ready. That is what I would say. Most of them are not Premier League ready. They just come from Division 1, and once they are being held in their communities, they start calling them Asokwa Pele, Dechemsu Ronaldo. They start giving them names. They feel that they've arrived, and that they are quality enough to play for the Black Stars. The Black Stars is a different level altogether. The quality we had back then in 2006, 2007, 2008, even up to the time where we had the likes of Eric Bequin, we don't have the quality in the local league now. Let's be honest with ourselves. We've seen the team play in the Chan tournament. We parade the best of local players to play in the Chan tournament. And what do? They go and put up abysmal performances in these tournaments. So most of them are not ready for the Black Stars. But I will still hold brief for some of them, like Afo of Samatex, for instance, quality left back. I'm glad he joined the Black Stars. He joined the Black Stars. Kotoko's goalkeeper, Frederick Asari, brilliant. I'm also glad that he's been given an opportunity to join the Black Stars. But ask yourself, do they even get the opportunity to showcase what they've got when they team up with the rest of the boys?
There's still on the player exodus, right? Like you mentioned, we had some of our players leave straight from the league to some of the top-notch teams. Straight away. And you mentioned that some of now our players are playing in Latvia, and even recently I heard that even in our neighboring Kenya and the Ugandan league, Ghanaian players are excited to have transferred to that league to go and compete.
Then I'm sure you're late. We had the best player at Kumasi Asante Kotoko currently playing in Rwanda, Richmond Lamptey. He was the best player at Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Let's not play the ostrich. These players are leaving because remuneration is not good here. I mean, they grew up with some boys who have found a way of going to some Eastern European countries to play football, and even some countries on the African continent like Ethiopia. And these boys tell them the stories that go on there. Charlie Membeji $8,000.
Okay.
No club in Ghana would even pay you $2,000. So when they hear these stories and they see that these boys come back and put up properties in Ghana, then they are eager to also go and take the money. And it got to a point where it was like, if you don't travel, you don't get an opportunity to feature for the BlackStars, or you don't get a call up into the BlackStars. So once a player hits form in the Ghana Premier League, we start making noise about him. The next thing, he's on a flight to Moldova. He's on a flight to Tunisia. He's on a flight to Ethiopia. Because even if he doesn't get the opportunity of featuring in the BlackStars, he'll get at least $8,000 a month. That is why most of these boys leave. It is about remuneration, purely about remuneration. If remuneration was even a bit better in here, why should a player leave Ghana and go to the Benin League? Benin, then
But can you confirm this for me? Because like you rightly said, you have had the opportunity to be closer, or you hosted the Ghana Premier League for 4 years. Is it true that currently there are some clubs who do even pay their pay their players below 1,000 cedis a month?
Absolutely.
Like currently,
I know a player currently who takes 800 cedis a month, and he's a breadwinner. Absolutely. Our clubs are not well financed. They do not have the financial muscle to meet the demands of these players. Why? Because most of our clubs have not branded themselves well. They've not marketed themselves well to be able to attract sponsors. Now, Ghana Football Nankasa cried, it is suffering. The whole league that we are playing, we do not have a major title sponsor. Bet Power was our title sponsor, but they put away as a major title sponsor, even though they are still lacking and paying the locker room bonus. So Ghana Football itself is in a very difficult situation, not to talk about the clubs. And our clubs over the years have not employed that professional attitude of trying to solicit for sponsorship. They rely heavily on the broadcast money that was coming from Star Times and the monies that the FA will give them and all that. All they think about is match day. Why people have come to pay 5 cedi, 10 cedi and enjoy their football. They don't want to team up with corporate Ghana. It was just a few clubs that had that, like Mediema, like Ashanti Gold, like Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Especially when Nayana Amposa took over as CEO, they got closer to the corporate world, because the money is with the corporate world. The money is with the corporate world. That is where the money is. But our clubs have not been able to maximize that by marketing themselves and getting to the standard where you'll be attractive to Guinness Ghana. You'll be attractive to Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola will say, okay, you've brought a proposal to me, I want to sponsor you. Our clubs have not done that.
What? Because somewhere last week, I chanced on a video on Facebook where I saw, I think 2004 Ghana Premier League, the likes of, was the match between Kotoko and Hearts. When you had at that time they had this bars, so like they had sponsorship from Tigo. In fact, when you check their approval, like you could see like there were sponsors there. What do you think they were doing right way back in 2004 that had the whole Premier League attracts that corporate world? And now what aren't they doing?
They had the right people in charge. Kumasi Asante Kotoko they've had one of the best football administrators this country has ever seen, Herbert Mensah. Brilliant. Herbert Mensah had come from outside. He had lived in outside. He lived in USA all his life. So he came with that corporate mindset. He came to, let Ghanaians know that football is a big business out there. We are still doing football for fun. We are still doing football as pleasure. We are still doing football as a form of entertainment. That is how we still see football in this country. Whereas when you go to Europe, when you go to England, football is a big business. It contributes a larger quota to their GDP. So it's a business in England. That is why when the Queen died, the Premier League still went on. A letter had to be issued from the Buckingham Palace that the Premier League matches should still go on, because it is a big business. It's a big contributor to their GDP. But we still do football as entertainment in this country. But the likes of Herbert Mensah came in, the likes of Harry Zako, they were with Heart of Folk then. They knew that they could tap money, or they could make this a business rather than just seeing it as a form of entertainment. And that is what made them successful during their tenure. Nana Amposa tried to introduce that when it came to Kumasi Asante Kotoko, but unfortunately, or unfortunately for him,
sabotaged.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it was sabotaged.
That was a narration.
Well, that is the rumor that is flying out there. But I think his time was short-lived. I think he could have stayed and done more for Kumasi Asante. We need to change the face of Ghana football. We need to move from that mentality of Hasashe Kotoko 2, Kotoko Ashe has 1, just for the pleasure of it. It is about it's a business venture now. Elsewhere, people are doing. Why do you think UEFA Champions League will introduce, or UEFA will introduce the new Champions League format?
Yeah,
they sat and saw that okay, we can maximize our profits by introducing more matches. More matches mean more money. You are looking at it from the pleasure point that you go and sit at the stadium and watch Manchester United, Barcelona. You are satisfied. But UEFA is looking at it from the profit point. There are more matches, more sponsorship, more money for us and both the clubs. Because football is one of the biggest business ventures you can go in. But we are still doing football as entertainment in this country. In Tiskeni no wati football team or community honom. No the community needing to so just to satisfy the people because of MPD.
Yeah.
Until team now any team he will manage to ensure that the team qualifies for the Premier League. The next thing you will see, his posters and banners are all over. He wants to become an MP of Bungurugu because he brought Bungurugu United. People in this country still have not moved away from that mindset that football is now a business venture. It is no more an entertainment.
You know, we're going to go back to the BlackStars, but
yes.
But on the league, you spoke about branding.
Yeah.
That in order for the league in itself to attract sponsorship. I think recently it was Bet Power, right?
Yeah.
But then within a year they had to cancel.
Yeah.
What do you think practically needs to be done in terms of branding? What should the teams understand, or what should the leaders or the authorities in charge of the league itself?
It starts from the organizers of the league, that is the FA. The organizers of the league, I mean, it's for them, so it starts from them. They need to put out a lot more visibility. How many Ghana Premier League billboards have you seen in town before?
Yeah.
Have you ever chanced on any Ghana Premier League billboard? Do you even know when the matches are being played? Do you hear about the matches? But I'm sure when the weekend is approaching, you know matches that Chelsea, Man United will play. You even know the time that these games will be played. You know the fixtures of all the European clubs. You know the fixtures. You know the games that Real Madrid and Barcelona will play because it's always in your face. They make a lot of noise about it. They try to market the product. I always tell people that the English Premier League is not the best league in the world in terms of quality. But the English have ensured that they put the league always in your face. So you are made to believe that the English Premier League is the best league in the world. The Spanish league, when it comes to technical ability, the English Premier League comes nowhere close. But the English Premier League is the biggest league brand in the world because they've marketed the products very well. They've made it very attractive. They've ensured that they sell. They understand the business points in this. They know that it's entertainment for the English people.
Yeah.
They know that it's entertainment for their citizens because they work Monday to Friday or factories and all that. So football is a form of entertainment for them. But they are also looking at the business aspect. They market their games, and the clubs themselves market their games. It's not just the FA.
Yeah.
They've not left it to the English FA. The clubs themselves market their games. If you download the Manchester United app, you always have a notification on your phone that Manchester United will be playing a game this weekend. How many of our clubs have apps? And
sometimes even the news around the whole club, like a player transfer, an injury.
I mean, when the transfer window opens in Europe, it is a Netflix movie on its own.
Yeah,
you can do you can do a proper Netflix Hollywood movie around the transfer window with Fabrizio Romano and I mean all these people coming in to do their own. Kavi Soliko and all that. They make it look like, I mean, this is what the world needs to pay attention to. And it's what? It's a conscious effort from their FAs and the people that organize the league to ensure that they make you believe that their league is the best in the world. And they've done that perfectly. Even our clubs do not have pictures of their players on their websites. How many of them even have websites? Yeah. You go on social media and you see our Mankwa scores 1-0 to Bechem United. but you've not even seen Yamankwa's picture before. You don't even know who Yamankwa is. On match days, when we are writing, those of us who write a lot of stories, when we are writing stories, we do not even get pictures to back our stories. And in writing, pictures are essential because it gives some form of evidence to everything that you are doing. But we do not even get pictures of these players. And these clubs do not see the need because they still see football as a form of entertainment. One man not in the team, always can what in the team be now or idea. So until we move away from seeing football as just entertainment, two teams standing on the field playing to satisfy millions of people and think that it's a business venture that we can go into. The South African League is not the best in the world, but players are being transferred to South Africa all the time. Players from Brazil are being transferred to South Africa because they see it as business. So we need to change our mindset. You know, you are still on the league, right? Still on the league, yes, guys. We still have with me Mutala Yakubu. Yes, a very fine gentleman, and he has proper understanding. One who has gravitas when it comes to the world, like sports, and also the Ghana League in general. I wanted to ask about. You had a chance to interview Ketu Kweku. I watched that when I think he was giving the nod. He spoke a lot when you interviewed him. Do you think he's lived up to expectation since he was given the nod? Well, he's done quite well, but as Olivers as we are, we always ask for more. A lot more could have been done. He can do a lot more because I know the kind of person he is. He's seeking for a third term. It's not confirmed yet. It's still rumors that are flying. But do you think he should be given based on what he's done over the period? Because people then tend to compare him to Nantechi's time. Because currently we are talking about the league. You know what makes it difficult when it comes to football politics? The common Ghanaian do not really have a say because in the end it is about 122 or 21 delegates who will go and vote for who becomes the president of the Ghana Football Association. It's not like the Ghanaian election where you and I have a say. Because we vote. This is what it's in the end. It's just a few people who go and decide the fate of Ghana football. So if they feel that Ketu Kweku still have a lot in his tank to continue as the president of the Ghana Football Association, perfect. Let me put you on the spot. Would you give him if you were? He's done a lot. Let me tell you one thing. I mean, I am an advocate of women's football. I started following women's football keenly somewhere in 2014 when I had the chance of, I think my first year at GIJ, that is where I took interest in women's football. So I was actually reporting a lot on police ladies. Women's football was not that visible. Under the Ketu Kweku leadership, women's football is now very, very visible. Not just the local league, the Women's Premier League, even the Black Queens, it is now very visible. We get visuals of we get visuals of the arrivals in camp and all that. I mean, the behind the scenes, what is happening in their camp. In the past, we do not have that. So women's football has become very visible. And also, one of the policies that they introduced that I told people that this was a groundbreaking policy was the Catch Them Young policy, where they train young men and women, or young boys and girls, if I can put it that way, to become referees. I mean, that was one of the groundbreaking policies that I would always big him up for. But I feel the only aspect that he's fallen short has to do with our national teams. And unfortunately for him, we are in a country where your tenure as an FA president is solely based on the performance of the national team. And if I say the performance of the national team, the BlackStars is king. So BlackStars are AFCON Bakwa. We will not be talking about Ketu Kweku. Or Ghanaians will not be talking about Ketu Kweku letting or overseeing a period where Ghana football seemed to be going down. Let me catch you a break on that. But in that same domain, like we had Kwesi Nantechi, who never won any cup for Ghana during his tenure. But today people seem to compare and they feel that because the BlackStars were doing amazingly well. So we used to get to the finals of the AFCON. And I mean, getting to the finals and not even winning. It was a form of solace for Ghanaians to say, "Oh, you do fine now." We used to get
but at the time our league too were having sponsorship.
Of course, and
our league were like very vibrant.
A lot has happened to Ghana football too.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Anas expose also tainted the image of Ghana.
No, but then that is why some will say that is why you came in to make things better. Like we had the normalization committee who had to come to put things in place. So if somebody who has been part, because people feel or feels that Ketukreku had the opportunity to go through the system. He was Gauka executive or something.
Yeah, he's been with Gauka. He's been an FA Cup committee chairman.
So someone who actually had I would say
Ketukreku has steadied the ship a bit, because there was a bit of turbulence when he took over as the president of the Ghana Football Association. Remember, the Anas expose tainted our league, not our league, tainted our football very much. It got international reportage on it and how corrupt Ghana football is. And corporate Ghana would not want to associate with something that is corrupt, because they are big and they have millions of subscribers and millions of audience out there. So I would say Ketukreku has steadied the ship a bit. We will need a lot more to be able to get to where we are. In terms of, I think he's done. If I'm marking him over 10, I would say I would give him a 6 over 10. Ooh. It is the national team that he's fallen short, and the local league. The national team and the local league, because we've not paid close attention to our local league for some time now. It is not ranked as one of the best in Africa. Once you have players leaving your local league to Sudan, it tells you have a problem.
Yeah, because I mean, like, those are the indicators where we could judge your performance. Because once the local league is in distress and like it's doing very bad, then and also you have your national team not performing or giving results, then I seem to even wonder how he had scored the 6 over 10, because
but it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, let's not see it as a doom and gloom, like a total doom for Ghana football. I mean, Ketukreku has done marvelously well. Yeah. The FIFA forward projects that he's been able to get for Ghana, brilliant. I talked about the Catch Them Young. They are starting a Ghana Football Academy where they are training young boys and girls. He's introduced a lot of national teams. Now we have the under 17, under 16, we have under 19, and all. He's brought all this on board. It is a national team that he's falling short, and the local league. If he can fix those two and get our national team, our beloved BlackStars, to play well again and play with a lot of fire. I always tell people that there's a way to lose a football match and still get the applause of everybody. I don't know how old you were when Ghana played Italy in 2006 at the World Cup.
I was old enough,
you remember that game? We lost by 2-0. But do you remember the BlackStars got the applause of everyone at the stadium? Yeah. Ghanaians were excited. Ghanaians were actually okay with the performance of the BlackStars, even though we lost to Italy. That is how to lose a football match. You lose by showing a hunger. You lose by showing desire. You lose by showing some form of seriousness. These are the 3 key things that people do not see in the BlackStars currently. The BlackStars lose a game and it's as if it's business as usual. You don't see the willpower, you don't see the fire, you don't see the spirit. You don't see that patriotic spirit that we used to see in the likes of Stephen Appiah, Michael Essien. That even when things are not going well, you find Sule Muntari trying to do his best. You find Asamoah Gyan running down defenders. I mean, battling it with the likes of Shitu. But you don't find that in the crop of players we have now. And that is the worrying thing for Ghanaians. It's not about just the result.
So do you think, still on that, but on the GFA, because do you think there's a problem with leadership?
The country itself has a leadership crisis. The country itself has a problem with leadership. So it's not, I don't think it's an exclusive GFA thing. We've had a leadership crisis for a long time in this country, but some are also doing their best. Because
some argue that it appears this crop of GFA executives, when you look at the stuff that is being done there, some of their decisions and their indecisiveness, feel they are there for monies. Recently there was this narrative about one of them saying that they are only there for, or being part of the management team is a sacrificial job. And one would say that why would a sacrificial job be paid $100,000?
I think it was Randy Abbey when he appeared before the parliamentary select committee
with no results. I mean, And still on the GFA, they appoint coaches for our national teams. There are reports that even till now there are some coaches who have no contracts, they have not been even paid, and we have been arrears of some ex-coaches. These are stuff that needs to be seen by the GFA, and it's
of course. And I can tell you for a fact that I have an insider at the Ghana Football Association who has told me about some of the plans that has been laid down in terms of fixing the fundamentals of Ghana football, and one of those fundamentals is coaching. Remember when Ketu Kweku was elected the president of the Ghana Football Association for the second term, he made mention of the fact that we have a coaching problem. Coaches that are not being paid for the national team, even Sylvia Appiah recently made a case for them.
Okay.
That if you don't pay a coach that handles the under 17, that coach can easily be induced by a bribe.
Yeah.
Someone can just go in there and say, "Memo 20,000, put me in the under 17 team," because you don't pay the person.
But is it not even already happening?
Well, I have no idea. It's all rumors that we are hearing. Right. I don't have first-hand evidence and that I can confidently say this is what has happened. We've all heard stories like this, so it is something that we need to fix in terms of rewarding people for their work. Never say it's a patriotic work or it's service for the nation.
No, but
our politicians are being paid. Remember, politicians are being paid. There's no job in this world that is more sacrificial than being a politician, but they are being paid. So I don't see the need why someone will work for a national team and not be paid. Maybe Randy Abbey didn't put it in a nice way, or a way that would please the ears of Ghanaians. Ghanaians want to hear, even when you are saying something bad, try and polish it a bit for it to sound a bit nicer to their ears. They thought he arrogantly said that. I understand the point where he was coming from, where he was saying that yes, they've worked for the nation, so they need to be rewarded. However, people are angry because they don't think that someone should be paid $100,000 for working 2 weeks, but he made mention of the fact that this is not just for the 2 weeks that they spent in Qatar for the World Cup. It started from the qualifiers, so all the work that they did throughout the qualifiers, that is what adds up to the 100,000. Well, let's see what happens with that one.
Because Mutala, coaching is a full-time job.
It's a full-time job.
Being an executive management member is a full-time job. So how then would you pay?
That is why you were saying that it dates back to when the qualifiers started for the World Cup. So all the job that they've done throughout the months and the years is what adds up. What adds up to that?
Those who are an integral part of the team, you are only following and managing things of the team, but the one who is part, like a core, he see to it that no players are doing well, put the tactics or the technical stuff together. They are not paid.
Well, it's a case that we need to look at it critically with in terms of remuneration for the coaches that handle the junior national. Apart from the BlackStars, no other coach is paid. Apart from the BlackStars, we don't have government paying the salaries of any other coach. So all the coaches are in the junior national team. It's more of a sacrificial job. And Kuruma will be a sacrificial job. It has its own consequences. That is where the person is easily influenced. Because when someone comes in and says, "I want to give you this," to influence a decision that you make, the person can easily accept that. So we should see to it that the coaches that work for our junior national teams are properly rewarded.
The last time I was listening to one of the senior colleagues like in sports, and he alluded to the fact that over $100 million have been pumped into the BlackStars in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And do you think it's worth it? Looking at the current state of the BlackStars,
no, we've not had value for money. That one, I can be the black sheep in this country and say that it's worth it. We've not had value for money. The amount of money that we've pushed into the BlackStars, we should at least have seen a trophy. Going to the finals of the AFCON and the semi-finals and the quarter-finals is no achievement. This is the BlackStars, for God's sake. This is a country that has won 4 Africa Cup of Nations. So we are not Lesotho. We are not Madagascar to be boasting of reaching the finals of the AFCON or going to the semi-final of an AFCON.
Yeah.
We are a country that prides itself with winning the AFCON, because we used to rub shoulders with the likes of Cameroon, the likes of Egypt. When we won our 4 Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt were nowhere closer to us, but today they've surpassed us. So we've not had value for money. But then also, you can look at it from the other side and say, maybe we were pushing in money with the hope that we would get results. So if the results do not come, you don't stop pushing in money. But we need to do things the right way to ensure that we get results. Yes, I will keep pumping in money. The amount of money we've spent on the BlackStars, people only got to hear that 2014 each player got around $100,000. You didn't know. 2010, if I tell you the amount of money the BlackStars players got in South Africa, you marvel. But it's just the 2014, because 2014 we didn't do well. That is where the issue blew up. 2010 we were fine. We got to the quarterfinals. We made history. So there was no qualms. If you're doing well and you are we pay each player $100 million, Ghanaians will not complain.
Yeah.
If you are winning trophies, we will not complain. We get agitated and start talking because we do not have value for money. The Parliament, the BlackStars are going to the AFCON. The budget for the AFCON is around $8 million, but the budget for the AFCON is $10 million. Ghanaians get agitated because Ghanaians sit around and look at their communities and feel that they do not have even basic amenities, basic social amenities, things that will make life easier. They do not have. So why are we pumping $10 million into something that do not give us value? Kids are still schooling under trees. But then you ask yourself, it will not change anything.
Mutala, we've seen a decline. So we've gone from appearing or making the finals of the AFCON to being part of the semi-finalists.
Not semi-final, to being to the point where we may not even qualify.
So there is that total decline.
Yeah.
People have asserted that there should be a rebuild. Do you believe in that?
Rebuild. When you talk about rebuild, what do you do? Are you going to sack all the players and bring in new ones? I mean, the best Ghanaian players we have out there are the ones that we call every match day to come. Because is there any other Antoine Semenyo somewhere that we do not know? Is there any player out there that is better than Kudus that we do not know that will bring? It's not about just rebuilding. It's about changing the structure. It's about getting the boys to play as a team. So technically we are lacking. We are inept. You can see that technically we are lacking. And I do not want to go hard on Utuado. His first coming, it was okay. He managed to qualify us for the World Cup. But the second coming, I see a lot of technical lapses in there. And it seems to be a lot of cumulating factors that is contributing to the BlackStars decline. And I feel one of the major factors that is contributing to our recent decline is the lack of confidence and motivation. You can see that the players are not motivated when they stand on the pitch. It's like something is ringing on their minds. It's deja vu. It's going to happen again. We are going to lose or we are going to drop points. Psychologically, they need to be up there. They need to build their confidence again. And most importantly, they need to play for each other as a team. If not, we will continue to suffer.
So you don't think that we lack quality?
No, we don't lack quality. I mean, we have players playing for Bournemouth. Antoine Semenyo is in fine form. He scored against Manchester City recently. Kudus is one of the best players in the West Ham squad. So Alexander Jiku plays for Fenerbahce week in, week out for Jose Mourinho. Tariq Lamptey plays for Brighton and Hove Albion. Thomas Partey is with Arsenal. Yeah.
You have
Fatai Shahaku plays for Leicester City. Jordan Ayew plays for Leicester City. Inaki Williams plays for Athletic Bilbao. He scores week in, week out. We do not lack quality. We lack telepathy and synergy.
So then you see, you mentioned earlier that you don't want to go hard on Otuado because I don't know whether you've listened in his recent address after the Sudan loss. One of the reasons that he felt contributed to our loss was the fact that he said that we lack quality. That's so then because you seem to be in like in direct contrast with what he said, because you think you don't lack quality with the kind of players and the team they play for, but he's the coach.
I have heard him
in a recent.
Yeah, recently I heard that. I know what you are talking about, but I've heard him on another interview where he's talking about the fact that the quality in men's was on that day, that we did not show quality enough to be able to get the win against Sudan. And he's not saying that the Black Stars itself or the players are not quality enough. He's saying that is not what he actually meant. He meant on the day of the game, we did not show enough quality to get the better of Sudan, because the team that we have do not lack quality. We have some of the best players playing week in, week out in Europe. What we lack is a team. We do not have a team. There's no synergy. There's no firepower. I recently had an interview, not an interview, it was just a chit chat with a former Black Stars midfielder, and he told me that if he watches these young guys play for the Black Stars, what he sees is that there's no soul in there. They do not really understand what it means to play for Ghana. They do not really understand what it means to put on the Black Stars jersey. It was pride for you to wear the national colors in the past. That is why the likes of Mike Layson would always want to run and come back when they are given a call up. Asamoah Gyan would run helter-skelter wherever he is. He would come and represent the Black Stars. But these days, these players have had it on a silver platter. We begged most of them to play for us, remember? We begged most of them to play for us because we felt these players were going to play for their respective European countries that they were born in. So we begged most of them to come and play for. And when you beg someone to do something for you, you know the result. That is what we are seeing.
Staying on that, like you mentioned earlier, that there's no patriotism, right? And the current point that you just made, recently or in the current call-up, we had 8 of our players withdrawing from the national team call-up. And even before this, we had our captain,
Thomas.
You are friends with his publicist. What's his name?
Samuel Ziga.
Did he give you reason? Like, he's your best friend. Like, did you give you reasons to the why he or his guy rejected the color hope? Because
no, I didn't really have any discussion with him concerning Thomas' withdrawal from the Black Stars in that game against Sudan, the one we lost. But we spoke to Henry Asantichum. The
reasons he gave.
Yeah, that was the same reasons that we are all going with, that Thomas Partey and Arsenal are saying that he's not fit enough to even be on the plane for the game. So let's leave it as that. But 8 players have withdrawn from the national team, all citing different reasons. I think 7 of them are saying they are injured. I think it's only Joseph Pinto who says it's a personal decision, so he's not coming. It's sad because we saw these players play a week before, and nothing showed that these players were injured. But then they will tell you that maybe after being assessed, that is where they got to know that they have injuries. But I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. We know why these players are pulling out. Most of them feel that it's almost like a dead rubber game to play against Angola. And what makes it even worse is that Sudan are playing before us. Even if we were playing before Sudan, I mean, that could have inspired most of them to say that let's go and do it. Maybe we still have a chance of qualifying. But Sudan are playing ahead of us. Even if they get a draw today against Niger, it makes our hopes of being in Morocco for the 2025 AFCON is just evaporated into the air. So I don't fault these players. With the recent happenings in the Black Stars, they will need to catch a break. And most of them feel the last 2 games look like dead rubber games, because from where they sit and what they are seeing, they don't think that Ghana can qualify. So they don't even want to waste their time, if I can say that, flying all the way halfway around the world to come and play this game.
But then you want to question their sense of patriotism, because who should then come and you see reason why, even when we've seen in recent times the Ayew brothers not in the best form, some people feel that they should still be given the collar, because these guys from day one have not.
Andre has never rejected the Black Stars collar up to 2010, where he and his brother said they had retired from the national team prematurely, where we had to go back and talk to them and all that because of abuses. They've never rejected or actually they've never rejected, I can use that word, they've never rejected any Black Stars call up. you are questioning the patriotic nature of these players.
Because then again, not to cut you so, because if you have your captain, Thomas Partey, for me one of the
frivolous reason
not to
you
represent.
Think he's too frivolous?
You saying that you could, as a captain, you could now know, because you rightly said we had Stephen Appiah, ACN, Muntari, all those guys can't play for the BlackStars.
If you know Thomas Partey well, you can see he's in a very tight situation. This is a player who earns around £250,000 a week at Arsenal. He's in the last years of his contract. He's not been given another contract because Arsenal are trying to monitor his situation in terms of his fitness. Because almost ever since Thomas Partey was signed, he's not played a full season for Arsenal. He's almost injured at a point. Arsenal have brought in Jorginho from Chelsea. They've brought in Mikel Merino, who could compete with Thomas Partey for a spot in there. So he's trying to protect his club career. Remember, Thomas is no longer a kid. He's in his 30s as well. So he's trying to protect his club career. And he's seen examples of players that chose their national teams over their club career and how it ended for them, the likes of Lai Kingston. He knows all these examples. He knows he grew up here, so he knows all these examples. He has advisors, so you can see he's trying to be cautious with regards to his club career. But then also he's also looking at what the Ghanaian people would say, because in the end he wouldn't stay in England forever. One day when he retires, he may want to come and live in Ghana. No matter what, this is where you come from. This is where your family is. You are a Ghanaian. So he's also being cautious with his approach in terms of ensuring that Ghanaians will feel he's not patriotic. But he's in a very, very difficult situation. If he should come to Ghana and get injured, it means that he is locked out of the Arsenal team and someone comes in. Mikel Merino has been knocking on the doors for some time now. If he gets the opportunity to be a regular starter in that Arsenal team, because it doesn't look like Declan Rice would ever be on the bench. He was bought for £100 million. So Thomas Partey is trying to be very, very protective of his Arsenal career, and he's entered his 30s. So I don't really want to think much about Thomas Partey. I'm looking at the young crop of players who have also given that the excuse of being injured, pulling out. Those are the ones I'm looking at.
All right.
Yeah. So let's leave it as that. But we can question their patriotism at this point.
So if you were given the chance to give three advice to the FA and also to help them about the BlackStars, what three things would you propose as measures to help, if not solve the problem entirely, but to help manage the problem?
I don't think I can give the FA an advice because they are more knowledgeable people at the FA than me. I can only give my suggestions. Now I suggest that we go back to grassroots football. Okay. Let's pay keen attention to grassroots football. Help to grow our local league again. Okay. Do a proper transition and not rely on foreign-based players all the time. Flying first class from Accra to London to go and beg players to come and play for you. No, once you start begging someone to do something for you, they don't do it wholeheartedly, and that is a major problem. But if we can pay attention to our grassroots football, we recently launched the Ghana Football DNA. Let's have an identity to our football, because we are in a situation where the BlackStars play a different brand of football, our under 20 plays a different brand of football, our women's team plays a different brand of football. You don't have that in serious football nations like Brazil, like Spain, like Germany. There's a style that all must adopt, and they go by it. So let's stick to the Ghana Football DNA that we've recently introduced, where we brought in the agro ball. Let's inculcate that in the young ones, especially the kids that are growing up to play football. And I'm sure in the next 6-7 years, we can get back to our best.
We are almost time is always it's almost catch up with us. But then just before we go, I'm tempted to ask, with all of this knowledge and in football and in sports, tell me, at what point did you feel that sports journalism was a thing for me? I met you in GIG. Of
course, but I discovered my talent very early in JHS. I used to play a lot of football, but I was more leaned towards education. I books. So I told myself that, okay, so if I can't play football, people are playing and they are earning money, then I can also talk and earn money. And my friends always used to call me Kwabena Yeboah, because I would spend money to go and buy 90 minutes newspaper. I mean, I love to read everything about sports because I was a sports person. So when I was done with GHS, went to St. Thomas Aquinas boys school, always arguing about Barcelona, Chelsea, but you still continue to argue and all that. My friends always tell me that, hey Charlie, oh there's sports there, so you sports there, so it wasn't really a difficult decision for me to just purchase a GIJ form and come. I would say it was spontaneous. I just felt that this is the right place for me to go. So I just told my dad, even though it was a battle. My dad is a police officer. He was a police officer. So he wanted me to follow his path, but I told him that this is what I wanted to do, and as an understanding dad, at a point, even though it was a bit of a task, at a point he understood and told me that I should just follow my passion. Today he's proud of me, so I just entered GIG, and once I got to GIG, I knew I was at the place. The rest was on me. The rest of the work was on me, because I had seen people complete GIG and I didn't know what they were really doing. But I'm thankful enough to have some people who advised me to start practicing. That is why I was always at the radio GIG, trying to, practice and get better, because I know it is not going to be easy out there. So I started very early. I had the opportunity of doing an internship at Class FM. That was after I interviewed Kwame Jumo on radio GIG. He thought I was good. He brought me in. 2016, I met Yampo for Ankara. He came to GIG campus. I was doing a show and he asked someone to call me for him. He felt I was doing well. When since then, that was it. I worked at an online company. Then I had the opportunity of going to Max TV after an interview, just one interview. Then that is it.
Talking about Max TV, I watched a live broadcast where Langabell said you are the Kudus of Max TV. Tell me, like,
Joseph Langabell. He's such a character. I love Langabell. He's seen my work, and Langabell is one person who has been like a friend to Max TV ever since I started in 2021. So he knows the hard work I put in. I am someone that is very passionate about what I do, because with all that I have read in this world, I know that if you are not happy with what you do, you are not going to get results. And I've always dreamed of becoming a top sports journalist. And to get to that level, you must appreciate what you do. You must be excited about what you do. So Langabell has met me several times in tight corners, places where he doesn't expect me to be there. He's watched me. He's listened to my radio show, so he knows what I carry. That is why he gave me that title, that I'm the Kudus of Max TV. So
honestly and personally, for me, I had my interest in Ghana football, like the GPO, actually, came up again when I started seeing you on Max TV. I'm hosting, and I felt like you really did a very good job over the period. And no wonder he gave you he named you the Kudus of Max TV. But talk to me. Recently, a couple of months ago, you were appointed as the PR for Income Sports Agency. Not long ago, I saw you issue out.
Personal reasons. I felt certain things were not clearer to me. So I just felt I needed to quit. There was no bad blood with him. I worked with him. We organized the Showcase of African Nation. It was a scouting event. It was very successful. We organized it at Medina. But after that, I felt that certain things were not clearer to me or were not transparent to me. So I had a discussion with him and I told him I wanted to quit.
But what was your job description there? Like, what were you supposed to do?
I was the communications director for S-Income. So everything communication. I was supposed to preach the good works about S-Income. Let people know the vision and the mission of S-Income. And that was basically it. Also, a lot of media tours, I facilitated all that. I enjoyed my time there, but it's history now, so we can move forward.
So what's the future for Mutala Yakubu? Because 10 years already doing sports journalism, and how many years at Max TV?
4 years at Max TV.
We've seen so many transfers in the football sector, and we've also seen so many transfers being done in our media space. We've seen people move from one media to the other. What's the future for Mutala?
Future is bright. As it stands, my time with Max TV may be coming to an end. But I'm still doing sports journalism, and in the future you might see me on the screens again at a different media house, but it's been a wonderful time with them. I take away some invaluable lessons learned. It was a place that what do we say the slogan of Radio GIJ is? The learning curve.
Learning curve, yeah.
Max TV was the learning platform for me. I didn't curve again. It was the road itself that I was on. There was no need to curve. I learned a lot there. I was given a lot of opportunities by Pofuankra. I appreciate the management of Max TV. I appreciate Mr. Max Otechi, the CEO of Max TV, for giving me the opportunity and believing in me, because it wasn't easy. If I tell you how I got in, you'll be amazed. It wasn't very easy because there were a lot of forces who were against me. I mean, a young boy that had just completed GIG. I mean, why should we bring him in? Why should we bring him? When there were top guys around that we could employ. But he had faith in me, and Pofuankra. I haven't seen or met someone that believes in my abilities and capabilities more than I am Pofuankra. There are times that I ask myself, this man actually believes in me more than I believe in myself, because the opportunities he's given me, even to host the Ghana Premier League on Star Times. It's always been a dream to be a host of the Ghana Premier League, because growing up I've seen the likes of Kwabena Yeboah be at the forefront to host the Ghana Premier League. So it's a dream come true for me to be a host of the Ghana Premier League, and having done that for 4 years, I'm super grateful to Star Times and Max TV. And I'll say I'm living a dream, but my next destination, I'll announce it on all my socials and people would get it.
So City Media General, City Media General, or multimedia.
It could be at Max TV again. So no, I mean, there are so many opportunities out there. I always tell people that I meet, I want to be like you, but Obi Amami opportunity. And I always tell people that the sky is very big for everyone to be able to fly there, and with all the hard work, determination that you put in your work or you put in yourself to get better, never forget prayer. Never forget prayer. Always pray to your maker. I don't know what you believe in. I am a Christian. I believe solely in God, and I believe that everything that I have achieved is the will of God. So add prayers to everything that you do, because there are 1 million people who are better than you. There's someone out there that is better than you, but that person hasn't found favor. I always tell people, I refer them to the Bible, that Noah wasn't the best person on the planet, but he found favor in the eyes of God. So always pray for favor, because I graduated with a lot of people from GIG. Y'all knows them. Y'all knows I graduated with some of the best sports guys. But most of these people are nowhere to be found. I had the opportunity because I told God that show me some favor, and I'm here. But I'm still going from strength to strength, and I see the future to be very bright, especially with sports and the young guys coming in and all that. So let's see what happens for us in the future.
Mutala, thank you very much.
A pleasure, always a pleasure.
We are so grateful.
And I enjoyed the conversation. It was more of a boys conversation than an interview. I felt relaxed, eased, and I mean, no pressure. Usually when I'm going to start an interview like this, I have butterflies in my stomach. But this one I felt that is as a boys conversation.
I think you made it so because since you entered, we've had a very chilling conversation.
And you guys are doing well. I mean, this is great. The future of media is social media and it's YouTube. So everyone will be turning to YouTube. That time is coming. So it's good you guys have started early, and I wish you all the best. That is what I can say with this. Cash out. It's a big industry, so try and cash out.
Thank you once again, Mutala. Guys, it's been a wonderful journey with me on here, Brother Bokubu Amashand of Bob Shandy. And yes, we had a very interesting conversation, with Mutala about the BlackStars, the current challenges, and what he feels should be done to help us curtail some of this problem or even manage them. And I'm sure you've enjoyed this. If you stay with us till now, we want to say a very big thank you to you. Continue to be with us. Subscribe to our channel, UIB Podcast. Follow us on all socials, IG, Facebook, and also on my personal page on Facebook by the Bokuba Mashandov. Comment, like, and share. And until next time, we see you. Bye-bye.